Episode 4, A New Hope, or just titled Star Wars, as it was called back in 1977. I know to most people it's just called Star Wars, but hey, Star Wars Episode 4, A New Hope is what George Lucas intended it, so I'm calling it that. But it is still Star Wars to me, though, so you know. But I am so happy to finally be talking about the original Star Wars trilogy, so I can talk about how it inspired me, and how much it means to me, and how it inspired countless others. Now, I will, in some cases, talk about this film in chronological order to the prequels, but I will also talk about this movie as if the prequels don't exist. And I will also be talking about the special edition in comparison to the original cut of the film that I apparently wasn't born yet to see, but yet my dad was, and can only be found in one DVD. But in any case, we all know Star Wars as a classic in the sci-fi genre and movies in general. And it inspired countless others, including myself, and to this day, people try to emulate the original Star Wars, but it will never be as special as that first Star Wars, because it revolutionized the film industry. Now, unfortunately, my first exposure to the original Star Wars trilogy was the 1997 special editions, you know, with all the changes. You know, the one with the change where apparently Greedo shot first. And it will take me to the 04 DVD special editions. As I said before, it has the original unaltered cut of the movie for me to know that Han actually shot first. But in any case, I remember my dad, he sat me down and had me watch the original Star Wars trilogy, and I was just so fascinated with the movie. I was so fascinated with the world, the characters set up around it, and the story. As I grew older, I grew even more fascination with the story. And it inspired me to write my own stories, and that the sky was the limit. And that I could write anything, no matter how ridiculous it sounds. And let's be ridiculous, Star Wars is a little bit ridiculous, but hey, that's the beauty of it. And with the right writing and conviction, it could work. And let's be real, Star Wars at the time was a film that, for all intents and purposes, should have failed. But it didn't. To this day, Star Wars is in pop culture. People dress up like Wookiees and stand in line in hot summer days in the San Diego desert for Star Wars conventions and Comic-Cons and stuff. People still buy the toys and merchandise. I already told you my story with the toys and all that. I'm not going to go through that again. But I also got to mention that through all the toys and stuff, I remember like one Halloween, I dressed up like Darth Vader. I wish I had a picture of that somewhere, but I really did though. So in accordance to the prequels, A New Hope takes place almost 20 years after the events of Revenge of the Sith. But the movie, it opens up, I always love the opening. You know, it's just the first time you see that title, Star Wars, and then the opening crawl comes up, you read it, and then we pan down, and then there's this rebel ship that's passing by, and it is being chased by an Imperial ship. They're in battle. And I just love that opening shot because just from that shot alone, we get the scope of this movie, and we know that the Empire, it has a good grip on the rebels. Now the ship is taken by the Imperial ship, and then we see that door come down, and then we see that door come down, and then we see a whole bunch of real stormtroopers coming out and blasting at them, killing them left and right. And then we also meet R2-D2 and C-3PO. And Princess Leia, she puts the plans to the Death Star in C-3PO so that he can transmit them and give them to ObiWan Kenobi. Now at that very moment, we don't know what the plans to the Death Star are, but that's the thing. And I just love the way that the film opens up with R2-D2 and C-3PO. And that was a ballsy move to open the film up with those two characters, because they are the main characters for the first 15 minutes of the film. And then we go on to meet other characters, but we'll get to that later. But among this opening of the movie, we meet Darth Vader, who is played by David Prowse, but is voiced by James Earl Jones. And I love that they chose James Earl Jones to voice Darth Vader, because if you've watched the behind the scenes of this movie and heard David Prowse's voice, you would know that if they did not go with James Earl Jones, that would have been horribly fucking wrong real quick. But just seeing Darth Vader and hearing him breathe for the first time, he just walks in like, and then he's just over there just choking this guy, asking for the plans to the Death Star, and then throws them, and he's like, "Tear this ship apart and find those plans and bring me the passengers. I want them alive." And just off of those two scenes alone, we knew what this guy Darth Vader was all about, and he means business, and he does not play around. And I like James Earl Jones. I cannot stress that enough, because it's like because that was the right voice to voice Darth Vader. And we don't know who's behind the mask. We just know that this guy is pure evil. But C-3PO and R2-D2, they manage to escape the ship, and they land on Tatooine. Both of them are captured by Jawas, but luckily they are found by Luke Skywalker and his Uncle Owen. Now real quick, again, C-3PO and R2-D2, always like those characters, because again, it was a ballsy move to have them open up the film, and then we get a glimpse of their friendship and the way those two work off of each other, their banter. And all R2-D2 cares about right now is getting the plans to the Death Star to ObiWan Kenobi and finding him. And this is one of the things I give the prequels credit for, because because we really didn't know that R2-D2, he knew ObiWan Kenobi, and so that his purpose at the moment was to get back to him. Now at this moment we meet Luke Skywalker. You know, he's just this teenage boy living with his aunt and uncle. He's a farm boy on Tatooine, and Luke Skywalker, he thinks there's a better road out there for him, but then his uncle Owen is like, no, you're not gonna go out and join the Rebel Alliance. You know, you're not gonna be like your father. One of my favorite moments from Luke Skywalker, as with everyone else's, is when Luke Skywalker, he's out of his aunt and uncle's house, and he's just looking up at the two suns in Tatooine, and you know, he's just wondering, is this my purpose in life? Is there something more for me out there? And I just love the music. I love John Williams' score at that moment. I love all the Star Wars scores. Like I say, like, this music was the movie that put John Williams as a household name in terms of making music for any movie, whether it's Jurassic Park, Harry Potter, E.T., and countless others. I like the setting of Tatooine and what it represents, because it's like no one wants to live on Tatooine. Either you were born there or you're an old hermit. And, you know, Tatooine is just a really... I hate sand. But Tatooine is just this desert planet where no one really wants to live. So R2-D2, he goes out looking for Obi-Wan Kenobi himself, but Luke and C-3PO, they found him, but then they are captured by the Tusken Raiders. Now, this is the first couple of changes that Luke has made that kind of went like, really? Like, throughout all the special editions that Lucas has made, he had changed all the screams for Obi-Wan Kenobi. And he put a rock in front of R2-D2, you know, just to make him more, to hide him more, but it's like, was that really necessary, Lucas? But in any case, Obi-Wan Kenobi, he saves Luke from the Tusken Raiders by scaring them, thinking like he's a ghost or something. Obi-Wan, he helps him up, and then Luke tells him, this droid here, he seems to be the property of an Obi-Wan Kenobi. Do you know what he's talking about? And then Obi-Wan Kenobi's like, then Luke's like, I think my uncle knows him. He says he's dead. Well, he's not dead. Not yet. He's me. Now, I totally messed up, but really, at this point, we're supposed to know that he's Ben Kenobi, but he is actually Obi-Wan Kenobi. After this, Ben Kenobi, he takes Luke back to his place. And so he tells him everything about the Force and everything, like, we just learned. It's like, it's just really fascinating. He's telling him about the Force. It's the Force. It combines us, separates us, and gives us power, and it can be manipulated and all that, you know? It's a mystical thing, you know, not this microscopic bacteria bloodstream called midichlorians. And we see for the first time a lightsaber. Obi-Wan gives Luke his father's lightsaber. He says it's the weapon of the Jedi Knight, and then we just see... It was just seeing, it was like, I remember I saw that for the first time, I was like, that's really fascinating. I really want one of those. And that's what made the universe so appealing to me. Ben Kenobi also tells him about the Clone Wars, and at that point, we really don't know what it is if you haven't seen the prequels. And then he also starts talking about his father. Luke asks Luke,
how did my father die?
A young Jedi named Darth Vader. He betrayed and murdered your father.
Why the fuck you lying? Why you always lying? Oh my god, stop your fucking lying.
And he also told Luke how his father was a good pilot and a good friend and a good Jedi. And after this, he looks at the message that was in R2-D2, and we see Princess Leia. He's like, help me, Obi-Wan Kenobi, you're my only help. And then Obi-Wan Kenobi, he starts telling him that you must learn to become a Jedi and help the Rebel Alliance. And then Luke's all hesitant about it. No, I gotta go back to my uncle. Alright, you know what? I'll take as far as Mos Eisley. And then, you know, Obi-Wan's like, you must do what you feel is right, of course. Next scene, we find out that the Empire sent a bunch of stormtroopers to follow the space pod that the droids were in. They first went into the Jawas, and that the stormtroopers killed the Jawas, and then they find out who they sold the droids to, and that led them back to Uncle Owen and Aunt Peru. And Luke rushes home to try to save him, but he didn't. He finds his home is fucked. Like, and he sees the skulls and the corpse of his aunt and uncle, and I just like that moment, you know, and I like the music at that very moment. He sees his aunt and uncle's corpse dead. There's just nothing but skull. I remember I saw that for the first time. I was like, at that point, Luke probably made the most important decision he could ever make, which is to become a Jedi. He goes back to Obi-Wan Kenobi and he tells him, there's nothing for me here now. I want to learn the ways of the Force and become a Jedi like my father. And then Obi-Wan, he's like, alright, let's do this then. Then Luke and the droids, they have to go to Mos Eisley to get a transport to Alderaan. And this leads to some more changes that I can deal with, but at the same time, it was unnecessary. We see Mos Eisley. Mos Eisley was supposed to be this small, isolated place on Tatooine, but then George Lucas had to Lucasify it with a bunch of CGI crap that you really didn't need. Like, there's a bunch of animals that you really didn't need, animals that we really didn't need, and added a bunch of, like, Mos Eisley was just bigger than it really needed to be. Like, pretty much, the whole reason Lucas added a whole bunch of stuff to Mos Eisley so that people will be familiar with it when they see it in The Phantom Menace. So we got to the Kid scene. It's pretty much just a bar, and this scene has one of my favorite ObiWan Kenobi moments. Luke is sitting at the bar, and then this guy just comes at him talking about, he doesn't like you. I don't like you either. You just watch yourself. We're wanted men. I have the death sentence on 12 systems. You'll be dead. And then ObiWan Kenobi, he comes in talking about, this little one's not worth the effort. Now let me get you something. And then that other guy, he just gets mad, and then ObiWan Kenobi, he comes in with his lightsaber and just slice and dice those two dudes. And then we see that arm on the ground, all bloody and stuff, and I'm like, I just like that moment, because at that point, we see that Obi-Wan Kenobi, he is a badass. So they find a spaceport is where we meet Han Solo and Chewbacca, or Chewie. And Han Solo, he's pretty much a pirate. He's a smuggler, and he drives the Millennium Falcon. And just from that little scene alone, we know as much as we need to know about Han Solo, then we need to know. He's like, Han Solo, he's like, hi, I'm Han Solo, captain of the Millennium Falcon. You never heard of the Millennium Falcon? It's the ship that made the Kessel Run in less than 12 parsecs. And again, I like Obi-Wan Kenobi in this scene. He's all like, it's just two of us and two droids and no questions asked. And then Luke Skywalker, he's just sitting there like, not impressed with how much they have to pay to get the ship. And then Han's like, but who's gonna fly, kid? You? And then Luke's like, you bet I am. I'm gonna buy. Oh, we don't have to sit here. And then Obi-Wan, he's like, we can pay you what you want, plus extra once we reach the Alderaan. Next scene is the one scene where fanboys complain about the most. Greedo, he comes in, he works for Jabba the Hutt, and he's talking about, hey, Han Solo, you coming somewhere? Sit down. Long story short, Greedo is really about to kill Han Solo, and then Han Solo's like, I've been waiting for this my whole life, and then Han Solo's like, I bet you have. And then Han Solo goes... There, Han Solo shot first, alright? Good. But in the special editions, Greedo shot first. And then in the 04 special editions, and I think the Blu-ray as well, neither one of them shot first. They both shot at the first time. Now, this is the one scene where fanboys complain about the most. Now, I understand why fans complain about that scene, because it's like, that's slapping the character and the fans in the face, you know? One of the things about Star Wars is redemption. Now, we know Han Solo, he shot first, and Lucas thought, well, you can't redeem someone who'd shoot first. But hey, that's the beauty of it. That's the beauty about redemption, is someone you can be a badass, but then turn good at the end. Han Solo, he grows over time, and you know, later on in the movie, he's telling Princess Leia, hey, I'm not in this for your revolution, I'm here for the money, I expect to be well paid. But again, you know, the whole Han Solo shooting first thing, you know, I'm not really sweating that, though I understand, you know, it's just, you know, fanboys are talking about, Han Solo shot first, not Greedo, man, Han Solo shot... Sorry, I digress for a sec. Now, another thing added to the special editions is Jabba the Hutt. Now, for 3 movies straight, we're asking, who is Jabba the Hutt? We don't know who Jabba the Hutt is, nor what he looks like. That's why when we finally see him in Return of the Jedi, it's a surprise. But no, it was a scene that was going to be in the movie, but George Lucas ended up cutting it out. It was a human at first, but then for the special editions, he changed it to look like Jabba the Hutt. And I wish they cut that out of the movie now that I'm thinking about it. Because, you know, it's just all a CG-looking Jabba the Hutt. It was lighter at first, but then in the 04 special edition, he changed it and made him look darker. It's like, I don't know. So, later on, we get our glimpse at the Millennium Falcon. They all get on the Millennium Falcon, but they get a hold of Ben, Luke, and R2-D2 and C-3PO. They're all like, stop that ship, blast it! And then, you know, they're trying to stop them, but then they end up escaping. Now, while they're flying in space on the Millennium Falcon, I like the banter between Luke and Han. So now let's talk about the Death Star. This Death Star, it was built to destroy a whole planet. And it also has one of my favorite scenes where we learn more about Darth Vader and what he's about. And we meet Grand Moff Tarkin. Now, we think Darth Vader, he's head of command, but it's really Grand Moff Tarkin. He's the one planning everything. And we also learn, this is where I think they gave the prequel some legitimacy. Because in that one scene where they're all arguing at the round table, we learn that the Senate, it's completely gone. It is no longer gone, and the Emperor has control of the Republic. or the Empire, I should say. And then one of the guys, he's trying Darth Vader. Darth Vader's like, the power of this space station is insignificant next to the power of the Force. And then one of the guys is like, don't talk to us about your treacherous ways, Lord Vader. Don't try to preach us on that ancient religion. And then Darth Vader's like, I find your lack of faith disturbing. And then Grand Moff Tarkin, he's like, enough of this. Vader, release him. As you wish. And so they start torturing Princess Leia so that they can get the plans from her. They start torturing for her, trying to get the plans to the Death Star. And then later on, they even go to full lengths. They have her. They threaten to destroy her home planet of Alderaan to get the plans for her. And I like the scene because we see one of the hardest decisions Princess Leia has to make. We see what she's all about. She's all for a revolution, and she genuinely cares for her people. You know, Princess Leia, she's all like, oh no, we are of peace, we have no weapons, you can't. And then Grand Moff Tarkin's like, you've won another military target? Then name the system. I'm getting growing tired of asking this. Where is the rebel base? And then we can see the emotion on Carrie Fisher's face as she's playing Princess Leia and what she's feeling at that moment. She's hesitant, she's like, Tatooine. On Tatooine. And then Grand Moff Tarkin, he ends up being all like, there, Lord Vader, she can be reasonable. You may fire and ready. And then she's like, what? You're far too just. We all know Tatooine is not that good for the rebels to be there, but don't worry, we will deal with your rebel friends soon enough. And so the Death Star, the Death Star shoots Alderaan and it's blown to pieces. It is destroyed. And I like the way they did that special effects, the way just that planet just blows up. It was fascinating. So we cut to Ben Kenobi training Luke on the Falcon. And ObiWan, he sensed that Alderaan is destroyed. He's like, I sense a disturbance in the Force. And so they're training Luke Skywalker. He has that helmet, is blocking them, and he's using the Force to pretty much stop the thing from hitting them. And then we also get a glimpse of what Chewie's all about. He's sitting there playing that game with C-3PO, and then Chewie loses, and then he starts yelling like, Arr! And then C-3PO is like, I don't think Chewie would help him. And then Han pretty much tells him that's because Wookiees don't rip your arm sockets out when they lose. And then C-3PO at the next moment is just like, I have a better solution. Let the Wookiee win. And then that one shot of Chewie, he puts his hands behind his back. I just love that. So they make it to where Alderaan would be, but then it turns out to be an asteroid field and it is destroyed, and so they end up going to the Death Star. And the Death Star ends up putting the Falcon in, they're on the ship, but the gang, they're pretty much hiding from them. But the game, they pretty much get separated. Obi-Wan goes to lengthen down the Death Star so it can be easy to attack, and so that they can escape. While Han, Luke, and Chewie, they go to find the princess. Now, I always love this particular segment of the movie because, you know, it's action-packed, it's entertaining, it's fun. When they find the princess, and we get introduced to the big three, Han, Luke, and Leia. And just seeing them play off of each other, and they're trying to get out of the trash compactor, seeing them work together, and then they all get separated, and then just that one shot of Luke and Leia together, they're flying just to get to the other side, and they get that Wilhelm scream with when Han shoots the laser at the stormtrooper. He's like, ow! Wow! Long story short, all of them, they make it back to the Falcon. But jumping back a little bit, we get this cool fight between Darth Vader and Ben Kenobi. And it was just cool seeing them two together for the first time. If you're thinking about the prequels, it was just cool seeing Obi-Wan and Darth Vader fighting together for the first time in years since Revenge of the Sith. And Darth Vader's all like, when I first left you, I was but the learner. Now I am the master. And then Obi-Wan's like, only a master of evil, Darth. And just seeing them now, I can understand if you think that this fight is not as entertaining as the choreographed fights in the prequels. But you also got to say, there's a lot at stake at this fight, and a lot is illustrated in this fight. You know, just seeing them fight, and I can understand it's not as entertaining just seeing them just swinging. And it's not as entertaining, but it really is if you really think about it and can appreciate it for what it is. Which brings me to one of the things about this movie is that it's the behind the scenes. Now, you also got to think, this movie was made back in 1977, and Lucas, he was making something unheard of, and there were a lot of problems on set. People weren't showing up, or people weren't taking the material seriously, and effects weren't working at the time. And speaking of the effects, of course, I love the effects in this movie. The effects are timeless. And I think it really shows during this particular segment of the movie and even all the space segments, which I'll get into later. Lucas made the effects in this movie particularly so that it will be timeless and won't seem dated. And that's what I love about this movie. And it looked believable. And so the fight ends up at the main hangar where the Millennium Falcon is. And I love this particular moment. Obi-Wan is trapped. He's fighting Darth Vader, and then the stormtroopers, they come, they block him, but then the others, they get on Millennium Falcon. Luke, he sees them, but Obi-Wan Kenobi, he sees Luke, and look at them together. He's like, he sees them, and he looks at Vader, and he smiles at that. He puts up his lightsaber, then Vader's just like, whoosh, and then Obi-Wan Kenobi, he disappears out of nowhere, and then he's died. Luke's like, no! And then the stormtroopers turn around and shoot at him. They get on the Millennium Falcon and escape. I just love that moment because it's like, it was a moment of peace where Obi-Wan, he had served his purpose and he did what he was supposed to do. And when he had that little smile, he was like, everything's going to be okay now. Now, granted, you can argue at this point everything's not going to be okay going 2 more movies in, but trust me, at this point, Obi-Wan, he realized everything will be okay and everything's just going to get better from here on out. We hoped. Now, I just love George Lucas' inspiration for this movie because many people have told me, including my dad, he told me that all this movie is a Western. I'm like, no, it's not. But then actually looking into the different mythologies George Lucas was looking at and how it plays into Western, it's like, yeah, it kind of is. I remember a couple of years ago, like, there's this documentary about how Shakespearean and how it plays into history and stuff, and how George Lucas got the mythology for this movie. And to be real, you know, the stormtroopers, they're like Nazis. So Han, Luke, Chewie, and the droids, they finally make it to this other planet where they meet up with the rebels, and they finally give them the plans to the Death Star from the R2 unit. It turns out those plans had how you can destroy the Death Star. Pretty much there's just exhaust port that's only 2 centimeters wide. You shoot a rocket in it, and boom, it destroys. I don't know, a rocket that you just shoot in and then it just destroys the whole Death Star. But in any case, they prepare for battle. Luke joins the rebellion and they get in their X-Wings and they go do this mission. But beforehand, Han Solo, he's like, he got his money, so he got what he needed. He's going to, he's going to pay off Jabba the Hutt because y'all haven't seen Jabba, but I have, so I got to go do this. But then Luke, they're all like, really? Come on now, you're turning your back on them and you're a good pilot. But then Han, he leaves anyway. Now, I do love the segment where the X-Wing fighters, they go to assault the Death Star so that they can, destroy the Death Star. And I just love that particular part of the segment where they go down in the trenches of the Death Star and then it pans down and then they just go in. And it turns out that exhaust port is right there. Now, Darth Vader, he joins in the fight, and he's destroying them left and right until it's Luke still standing. And he has Obi-Wan in Force form in his ear, talking about, remember, the Force will be with you. Luke, trust your feelings. And then finally Obi-Wan is like, use the Force, Luke. Let go, Luke. Luke, trust me. And then Luke Skywalker, he takes away those computers that's just going to misdirect him like it did for that other guy that got killed. He inside the hole, but then he missed. Now Luke, he's close by. He's really about to shoot into the hole, but then Darth Vader, he's about to shoot him. And I always like that particular moment where Darth Vader, he's pursuing Luke, and he's like, the Force is strong with this one. Before Darth Vader shoots him, Han Solo comes out of nowhere in his Falcon, and he's like, Yahoo! And then he gets Darth Vader and the other 2 people behind him out of the way, and then Luke is able to shoot inside the hole. And I just love that particular moment, because at that moment, the Death Star is about to shoot the planet where they came from, and I just love the camera. I just love how they edited that scene. But Luke, he shoots it into the hole, and he's like, ah. And right before the Death Star is about to blow that planet up, it goes. Then that's the end of that scene. And he hears from Obi-Wan one more time, the Force will be with you, always. And then they go back to the planet, everyone is all celebrating, and then, they all get medals. Luke gets a medal, Han gets a medal, but apparently Chewie doesn't get a medal for some reason. And then that's the end of the movie. Because seeing 5 and 6, and seeing that Lucas, he was able to go the distance with those 2 movies that he was with this movie, so therefore, this movie, it kind of loses it loses something with me. And the stories are even better in those 2 movies. Now, I'm not saying this movie is bad. Trust me, this movie is not bad at all. I'm just saying, seeing the other 2 movies, this one kind of lost its edge with me. And it's totally not his fault because Lucas, he was creating something so big and unheard of that not a lot of people had faith in him for this movie. But in the end, this movie did pay off. It became one of the biggest movies of all time. It dethroned Jaws as the highest grossing movie of all time. Despite A New Hope not being my particular favorite in the saga, I will always have a spot in my heart for A New Hope, because this is the first Star Wars movie ever made, and it inspired countless others. It was revolutionary. It started a big mega franchise, and let alone it was the rise of the movie franchise. And for what this showed in the movie, I'd say this movie is properly titled, because this movie is called A New Hope, and it really does illustrate that in the movie, because, you know, again, with the prequels, if you count those, the Republic is gone, and so now it's up to Luke Skywalker. He is the last of the Jedi, and he's the new hope. And he's the new hope to bring balance to the Force and to the galaxy, as well as others such as Han Solo, Princess Leia. They are the new hope to really bring peace to their civilization. Star Wars Episode 4, or just titled Star Wars, gets an A++. Guys, thank you so much for watching, and again, once a month I'm going to be doing every single Star Wars movie, and we're about 2 more movies away from The Force Awakens. So next month, I'm going to be doing The Empire Strikes Back, and I can't wait to tell you about how much I love that movie, and how it's my #1 favorite of the franchise, and how it's one of the best sequels ever made. And also, next month, be on the lookout for my review of The Hunger Games Catching Fire and Rocky V. That's it for today. If you like what you see, subscribe to this channel, subscribe to my other channel. The links are in the description below, and be sure to catch me on Facebook, Twitter, Tumblr, Instagram, Periscope, and Movie Pilot. Peace.